This is designed to be a short, powerful, and impactful message that you have on those around you. Okay, this is going to be a mirror reflection of the profound impact that you have as I'm hearing weave in and out of people's lives seamlessly. And perfectly being kind of blended and sewn into the fabric of their existence. But I'm seeing a stitch, so it's almost like you stitch something in. And if you think about stitching, it usually is a material that is being almost how do I say this, seamlessly put together to create something. Now, I'm not sure if that is material that you give others to kind of work with. It could be material in which you create, whether that be content or there's some kind of words that you may speak that shift the fabric in how somebody views this existence, right? It kind of shifts the way that they feel about it. If you think about fabric, there's many different kind of types, but I'm seeing silk, so you're definitely cut from a very special cloth, you know, a different kind of cloth. And yeah, that's what I'm seeing. So the two words were inspiring effort, okay? And it feels like you're graduating to a certain degree there with the Oxford energy. And I saw this as two different perspectives. So with inspiring effort, the first way that I saw it was, oh, your effort that you put into something is incredibly inspiring. And then I also saw inspiring effort where you're actually mirroring and inspiring those around you to put more effort into something that they also want to create, right? Something that they also want to sew into the fabric of their existence. And I'm kind of seeing it as the scene right now. And I've spoken about this with Life Path 8s before around the scene of Cinderella. And she's about to go to the ball and she finally summons all these like spirit guides or, you know, different animals, the mice, the birds. And they sew this beautiful gown for the ball. And it seemed like they created something beautiful out of a time in their life where there appeared to be scarce resources, or like there was nothing, right? They created some kind of substance, or they created some type of luxury. And I feel like it's your ability as a creator, but also as an alchemist, right, to take something small and generate something really large from it. And it reminds me of legend experiences and turning them into some kind of golden opportunities. So maybe it's the wisdom that you've accumulated along your life experience. I'm not sure, but it's something that you're doing with it. And you know, you could be a Life Path 8. Some of you, that's going to be clarification for you. Or maybe you've had your personal year 8, which is a very, very busy year. It's a very hectic year. And, you know, I always see that as an 8 of Wands. So it's rapidly accelerating along your path. It's a moment where you receive this burst of energy and vitality. And that leads to you, again, really experiencing accelerated versions of events happening in your life where there's just this sequence that's unfolding before you. And there's some type of momentum that's built in your life. Now, when people around you, I also feel like momentum begins to build, okay? Like, again, some kind of inspiration also begins to build. So, inspiring effort. I'm going to go ahead and do a reading on this now. So, yeah. Very interesting. Inspiring effort. You're inspiring effort, and also your effort is inspiring, okay? I'm going to go ahead and get Cosmos Oracle message. I want to get 2 messages from this because I saw it from 2 angles. First of all, we're going to take a look at the effort that you've been putting into something that's incredibly inspiring. What is that energy around your field? What is that energy around your field? Parallel universes. Wow. This talks about the power of choice. So it's the things that you choose, right? The things that you choose and also do not choose, because let's say this person says there's only one option, right? They have to say yes to this timeline. So they end up here and then they're at a choice point. Do they want to say no to this thing, right? That leads them kind of to a dead end. It kind of limits the range of experiences that would be available to them. Or do they want to say yes and they can begin to see a new sequence of opportunities unfold before them, right? So that's almost like parallel universes. How every tiny decision you make creates a branching universe. So this feels like it's not just one thing that you put your effort into, you know, this feels like it's multiple decisions that have been made, and it's something, the decisions that you made when no one has been watching as well, that have had very physical, you know, impact on your life. It's like someone could be seeing the product of something or the outcome, but they haven't seen all the work that's led to that accumulation point, because you have ultra ultraviolet here at the base, which is energy that penetrates your field, but it's where you you have a breakthrough, but from the inside out. I'll go ahead and read it for you, right? Parallel universes. It kind of reminds me of what happened at my gym the other day. There was a really sweet man, and I racked quite a lot of weight, right? I racked it with my foot because it was all the way at the bottom. I don't know how much it was. Maybe like 190 kilograms. Was it kilograms or pounds? I think it was pounds. No, it was kilograms, 190 kilograms. Anyway, I was doing leg press, yeah? And this man, he saw me and he came up and he was like, wow, that's a really impressive weight that you've racked. And he was really enthusiastic about it. And I was like, wow, thank you. You know, I've actually, I used to push heavier, but I'm trying to get back into it and like build up my my strength again. So Spirit was showing me that scene for a reason, right? So it reminded me of that because you could be hard on yourself, or maybe you don't see like how far it is that you've come, and something that could feel effortless to you now because it was kind of like a warm-up set, you know, is almost like really inspiring to those around you, and it feels like it's because some kind of dream that you've had. Because I remember when I was starting like a lot lighter, maybe like a few years ago, yeah. And then I was like, oh, one day. And it just feels like something's happened where you've been improving at something. And from the outside perspective, it seems like, again, when you go through the wormhole and you have this time dilation bubble, you experience time very, very differently because you do things on a day-to-day basis where that dream that you're aspiring to then just becomes a part of your everyday reality. Like it just becomes your ordinary everyday experience. And I feel like there's something that maybe that you once prayed for. Maybe it was about healing from that circumstance. Maybe it was about overcoming that thing, you know. Maybe it was about getting stronger mentally, psychologically, spiritually, energetically, financially, in any kind of way in your life. And I'm just seeing mass that has accumulated, okay? Some type of mass that's accumulated. Yeah. That's super, super interesting, and that's inspiring. There's something that you've been putting effort towards, and it could be multiple trajectories of your life, right? But yeah, it talks about the power of choice. How did you become who you are today? What are the decisions that you made that has led to that event transpiring? And it just feels like others are kind of intersecting now with a point in time that you've worked towards, if that makes sense. It's like you got to experience the journey of reaching this point, and this is the present. It's not about just things that you're going to go on to achieve, right? And success being how much you're able to lift, or success being how easy you can do something compared to once upon a time when it wasn't that easy. It's about in who it is that you've become, you know, and who it is that you've become. It's just like, it is you, you know, you are it. It's just something that feels like it's a natural state of being for you. So it kind of just feels like a flow state. So although all your lived situations, events, and experiences that you have throughout life are an important factor, they're not the answer to these questions. They happen to play the role of the apparent ones, but the real determiner is choice. They may appear as the most obvious reasons, but it is choice which plays the key role. Even when we do not have a choice or do not take it, we are still choosing, right? So even when we choose not to do something, that choice also has a consequence, you know? It's like the days where it feels like days where you haven't wanted to show up, you've still shown up, okay? So every choice that and I'm hearing it's about what those choices have now surmount to, because it feels like those choices have had very real outcomes or progress that you're now able to see in a visible way, okay? In a physical way. So it's like you've built the tolerance or momentum towards something. Right now it just feels like a natural state of being. Some of you, it could have been like you know, sometimes there's a decision that feels uncomfortable and then you repeat it again and again and again, and you create this new synapse or network in the brain where it just becomes a habit, right? And then eventually after you kind of commit and get disciplined towards this habit of some kind, and it could be like a healthy habit, right? Something that's good for you that you did, even if at first psychologically you could have been resistant to it, and then it just becomes a part of who you are, you know, and it just feels like the success is in who you've become. So every choice that you've made, no matter how small or irrelevant it seemed, attracted threads and threads of energy that has molded who you are today, right? And people see who it is that you are today, and that effort that you've put into, you know, creating yourself, maybe creating your avatar and the things that you want to create in this realm as an extension of yourself, right? A creator playing inside of his own creation is inspiring in some way. So if you were a piece of clay dancing softly at the mercy of the rhythm, and with each choice, infinite possible webs transpire into other realities. Many of the things that happen to us do not come through choice, but we always choose what to do with them. The decisions of the universe works in mysterious ways, but always in our favor. Our choices are sometimes correct, and other times we can make them be. So this is about choice and how powerful your decision is, and how you choose to apply yourself in this realm, and you choose to, you know, it's the application of free will, you know, and it feels like you've done something in this realm where it's been a beautiful application of your free will, you know. Have you ever seen someone do something and it's like, that was a great, you know, that's a great use of free will? I don't know if you guys have ever seen like an example of that. It's like, that was a great choice that you made. So let's go and read Ultraviolet. And I was feeling that today, you know, on my way when I was training. And when I was writing there, I was having this bit of timelines, you know, it was like a very evident bit of timelines. And I was leaning into the vibration of each one. Do I say yes to this thing, or do I say no to this thing? And as I leaned in, right, towards the thing that I wanted to say no to, but I felt like there was an obligation to say yes to, that no felt like an ease. It felt like that relaxation was the answer, you know. It felt like that was the path of least resistance, and anxiety was arising in the body until I made a choice. Even if I said the yes thing, things would have still been okay. But when I focus on leaning into what felt good and trusting myself in making that decision, right? That success is in who you is that you become, how you choose to navigate and decide for yourself and choose for yourself as a sovereign being and as a sovereign creator in this realm. You're not just a passive observer, you're an active participant when it comes to your life story. So the things that you choose, also do not choose, are completely up to you. So yeah, the message I was getting with that is I felt anxiety rising in the body until I made a choice. And when you make a choice and you finally decide what it is that you want to experience, that reality collapses instantaneously. You know, it now becomes a next natural step in towards your progression, like progressing down that timeline and whatever that may look like for you. So there's just something around how you navigate this. Let me go and read Ultraviolet Light, since it's a base card, just so you can see. So Ultraviolet talks about things that secretly affect us without being visible or perceivable. It acts silently and secretly affecting our field. So this definitely gives me a strong energy around, even though you've done this thing and it's become a natural state of being, you still have times where you question yourself, or you could be hard on yourself and not give yourself enough grace. So I feel like your biggest message for this is give yourself grace, because there could be something that you've reached that other people aspire, like, you know, to be like, or to begin to do in their own life in some way. But that's what I'm seeing, right? It also talks about self-imposed limits and self-care and medicine. As medicine are the keys. Invisible problems can be solved with tools which are equally invisible. So this is beautiful. These can be used on oneself or another, or on any energy center. All of our bodies and planes interact with energy without exception. Therefore, it's always recommended to protect them. So I feel like the way that you speak to yourself is something that may need to improve, right? It's almost like a moment that you have to take to smell the roses and not be so hard on yourself. Okay, let's see. It kind of reminds me of what a privilege it is to have problems. You know, what a privilege it is to have problems. And I feel like your problems may be another person's greatest day. You know, it kind of reminds you of that. Okay, you have collapse that came out. So the effort that you're inspiring in those around you is collapse. So collapse talks about system failure. when this is mirrored through another version of themselves, being you, mirroring infinite potential, what that could look like, and inspiring those around you, these other organisms of consciousness, to also begin to embody those natural ways of being, and leaning into also the things that feel good and just giving themselves permission to do those things. Collapse is saying that things will change or they won't, but outdated ways of thinking and navigating this construct will be something that begins to feel some kind of discomfort. Sometimes we don't change things because it doesn't hurt enough, you know, and change isn't what hurts, it's our resistance to it. So what begins to actually hurt when we resist that change is our own resistance to it, towards something else that's been inviting us, right? Inviting us into different ways of navigating this construct with collapse. And then you have gravitational acceleration, which talks about moving towards a very defined target. I'm just seeing it as, oh, I would like to do that, or I would like to do something like that, or this is super inspiring, but you actually inspire collapse. So the energy that you're giving me is someone that comes into someone's life, or someone comes into a life or something that you've done, and it's like, wow, that was a moment of destabilization, but it was actually designed to become my biggest transformation, and I'm no longer going to resist this change, and I'm going to hold myself accountable to this. And there's almost like a level of not just motivation, because motivation will only get you so far. If you only do the things when you feel motivated to do them, well, they may not get done a whole lot, right? But our discipline and the ways that we choose to show up for ourselves are the things that begin to construct Saturn energy, results in the tangible, results in the physical, the way that we choose to physically apply or not apply ourselves to something. Right, let's go ahead and take a look at parallel universes real quick, and I'm going to get a card around how you're inspiring effort. So your effort that's inspiring is Knight of Chalices and the Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles is somebody that is in the early stages of their, you know, development. However, this could be a career opportunity or financial opportunity of some kind, but it essentially talks about something that has a lot of potential for growth. The Romantic and the Knight of Chalices is essentially a knight who follows their intuition in the things that they choose to plant in this existence, the things that they choose to nurture and the things that they choose to grow. And this essentially talks about grounding an idea and bringing it into a part of your reality, right? An abstract concept into an everyday embodiment. It feels like the practical things that you do have this spiritual essence infused into them, and the spiritual things that you do are also able to be applied in your life in very practical ways. So there can be things that you do that allow you to connect deeply to yourself, and that's why it seems like you're so in your element when you do this thing, and that's why it's inspiring, okay? Because it talks about resistance, and not resistance, resilience, but resilience through your choices, and also seeing the unfoldment and the journey of those choices to choose things, even in the presence of uncertainty, even in the presence of fear. It's like you trust yourself and where it is that your intuition is guiding you as you move through this existence. So that's also what it's giving me. Let me go ahead and get a where you're inspiring effort in those around you now. Okay, we have two cards as well. The way that you're inspiring effort is the Page of Chalices and the Ten of Swords. So a psychological ending. The Page of Chalices actually in this card is about the Wanderer. And the Wanderer is somebody, or the composer, okay? It's somebody that is actually composing. Here we have the Pathfinder here as well. Yeah. Your effort is extremely inspiring because of the paths that open up, okay, as you trust where your intuition guides you. Now, the effort that you're inspiring those around you is the composer, which is very much you showing up as a synchronicity. It's like you could be showing up as like an oracle or a reflection in some way. And the Ten of Swords is reflecting what is no longer serving an individual, right? And also those inconsistencies in some aspect. Let me go and read these so you can see. I'm going to take a look at the short segment for them. So the effort that you're inspiring in those around you with the Page of Chalices is an open heart, emotional well-being, and to step into more of a playful existence, okay? The composer directs lotuses to lift from the water as the page of chalices offers a bowl of water to the mystical sea serpent. Both of these figures are aligned with the world and represent emotional well-being. When we are at peace with ourselves, we can inspire the world around us. If we can maintain an open heart, you will always find pathways unfolding. You inspire those around you to love themselves into change, because we cannot shame ourselves into change. And the paradox is, in order to change, we must fully accept ourselves as we are. So it's being compassionate with where it is that you are, and then deciding where it is that you want to guide yourself next. What journey do you want to experience in your life through the different choices that you can make? How could that open up a different journey for yourself? And there's something around it never being too late to kind of open up a different journey or open up a different life experience. And you could create that safe space, especially psychologically, to do so. Just because it's like, okay, well, this person's done it, and they're a reflection of that, and a mirror, and I feel safe in changing because I've been able to see this individual change and flourish through that change. So I feel like there's just something with, again, with the Pathfinder, there's something that you've done, there's something that you've found as you follow this new path within yourself. So financial gift, new skill, security, and diligence. The effort that you've been putting into something is inspiring in the ways where you're beginning your sprint towards some type of next big thing. So this is something that you're putting effort towards, right? It could be a new goal that you've set yourself that you want to be able to achieve. But these two represent diligence and new skills. When you see this card, take it as a sign that your ambitions will lead to a fruitful outcome. Be diligent and you will achieve greatness. So again, there's something that you're diligently like focusing on, okay? Focusing on moving towards, focusing on growing in your life. And I'm hearing it's some type of new spark of creation as well. Right, I'm going to close out with one more message for you. And it's going to be a oracle deck of the magic of the gathering. And see what archetype you are embodying. We have the tunnel vision. So there could be something that you're logged in on right now. Tunnel vision and the Cyclops can talk about, again, it's like you're removing every other superfluous distraction. And you're just zoning in on a very particular goal. And the thing is, it feels like those around you are silently inspired. Again, they're just silently inspired in the way that you navigate or move through life, through this sacred embodiment. It's not like you're announcing things. It's like the success in who it is that you've become, and the things that you achieve as you embody who it is that you've become in this version of self. Even in your becoming, in what could feel like a work in progress to you, is already a masterpiece, right? Those around you. Life is complex and there are many ways to look at an issue. Our base instincts tend to make us think there's only one way so that we survive, but we no longer are in the Stone Age, so search for your own truth. Let go of fear and keep your mind open and curious. This is something that you've been able to do, again, especially with that page essence. This is about keeping yourself open and seeing where it is that the rational mind can sometimes turn us into unconscious monsters, where we have to wait for, let's just say, the thing is with motivation and our reward system, even in neuroplasticity and neuroscience, is our reward system actually comes from us taking action, and as often metaphysically as we take action towards something, we gain clarity to see if we even like it or not in the first place. And sometimes we want to wait for the results, or we want to wait for the evidence before we take action towards something. But when we do it before our linear or logical mind, right, has all the answers, right, and we know all the hows it's going to happen or the when it's going to happen, and we just focus on the why we want to go something and the where we want to go, that actually serves us, okay, especially as spiritual beings, really immersed in the human experience. It serves us, and there's something around you being a clear example of that as well, okay? You're a clear example of what life could be like when you step into more of that explorative phase. And your success is not defined by the things in which you achieve. It actually is not being afraid to fail. There could be something around you where you're not afraid to fail because failure is not the finish line for you. When we see failure as almost data that we're collecting in this experience and as part of the journey towards success or towards achieving that thing, and we see it as, you know, data analysis and being able to kind of gather, let's just say, points of reference, or see it as an exploration and not attached to if that thing succeeds or if we succeed at that thing the first time or not, we begin to give ourselves permission to do it even if we don't feel like everything is perfect. You know, we begin to do it anyway, because when we're always waiting for a perfect moment in our logical mind, we can end up waiting a lifetime. And it seems like you are someone that provides the space and unconsciously invites those around you to give themselves access and permission to do it, even if they don't feel 100%. It's like the reading that we did around assembling a plane as you're taking off, you know? So, yeah. With that being said, I'm going to love and leave you guys right there. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing because we love to have you around. Personal reading details also down below. Also check out Otter Spirit if you're looking for some high quality 888 grade jewelry. And I'll speak to you very soon. Until next time, bye.